Hello students, today we are going to start a new chapter, living and non-living. Many things that we see around us every day are living or were once alive. But what does it mean to be living? All the animals and plants and human beings that you see around you are living. And the other object that we notice every day, such as cars, rocks, bricks, buckets, bottles, your bikes, all the vehicles, and many more, they are non living. Things such as furniture, bats, hockey sticks, and cocks are made up of wood, and we call them dead things. Though the trees from which the wood was taken to make these things were once living. There are some common features of living and non-living things. All living and non-living things are made up of matter. And we know what is matter? That occupies space and has mass. Thus, all living and non-living things have mass and occupy space. Another common feature between living and non-living things is that they are made up of structural unit. A non-living thing like a chalk can be broken into smaller and smaller particles until you get the smallest piece of chalk. So, a molecule is the structure unit of a chalk and smallest unit of matter. Thus, the structure unit of a living thing is of non-living thing is molecule, and structural unit of a living thing is the cell. There are different kinds of cells in the body of a living thing. Cells can be seen under a microscope. Here it is a cell of an onion peel as under a microscope. So there is a difference between the cells of a living things and molecules of the non-living things. There are differences between living and non-living things. So first we can take that the some difference such as movement, intake of food, respiration, exertion. These are some common difference between the living and non-living thing. We normally recognize a living thing by its activities such as walking, running, but a robot can also walk and a car can run. But the robot and the car are non-living things because they do not respirate and they don't consume the food. All living things have some common characteristics that they are not present in the common living things. Let's study some of the features of living things that include both animals and plants. The first is several living things move. You can see animals moving. They move around in search of food or shelter or to escape from enemies. Besides, their body parts move in different ways. Plants do not move around in search of food and shelter. However, you can observe the movement in a plant when you touch the leaves of the mimosa or touch me not plant, or in the sunflower as it turns to the face of the sun. Similar kinds of movement are also visible in the leaves of orchid tree and flowers of the lotus and water lily. As you have seen, some non-living things can move too, but they do not have the other characteristics present in the living things. The second thing is all living things are made up of cells. Like your school building, it is made up of bricks that are arranged in layers. A brick is the smallest unit of construction. Similarly, living organisms are made up of called tiny units called cells. Some plants and animals consist of only one cell. All the bacteria, yeast, fungus, and some plants living in water are one celled. Amoeba, paramecium, and many other animals are also made up of only a single cell. There is no change in the number of cells throughout their life cycle. The bigger the animal, the greater the number of the cells that make up its body, but they also begin their life from a single cell. Living things usually do not remain the same size. We always notice that there is an increase in size as we grown older. A small puppy grows into a dog. Small seedling grows into plants. Many of them grow to become tall trees. So living things grow. The growth of the living things is different from the growth of the non-living things, such as a crystal or a heap of sand. Growth in living things occurs within the organism by the division of cells. In single celled organisms, growth occurs only in the size of the cell. But in non living things, growth occurs due to addition of material from the outside. When we add some material, then it grows. Animals stop growing after they have reached a certain size and age, whereas plants continue to grow throughout their life. Living things have a definite lifespan. Each living organism is born, it grows, and then dies. Different organisms have different lifespan. Like bacteria has the average lifespan of 20 minutes, houseflies 1 to 4 months, mouse has 2 3 years, dog has 12 to 14 years, lion has 20 to 25 years average lifespan, and human beings have 60 to 80 years lifespan. So different organisms have different lifespan. The next one is living things reproduce. All living organisms reproduce their own kind, or animals such as human beings, dogs, cats, or cows give birth to new animals like themselves. We all know that baby birds hatch from eggs. The birds sit on the eggs to keep them warm. Baby birds come out of the eggs after a few days. Frogs, snakes, spiders, and mosquitoes also hatch from eggs. Most plants are produced from seeds. So, this is how the living things reproduce. The living things also respond to stimulus. What happens when you uh, accidentally touch a hot utensil, a hot pan? You quickly withdraw your hand because you feel hot. The withdrawing of your hand is a response. The cause of this response is cause the stimulus, which in this case is the hot utensil. So here the stimulus is hot pan. And the leaves of the touch me not plant drops if something touches it. Touch is the stimulus to which the sensitive plant responds by folding its leaves. When you touch its leaf, they get folded. You can keep a small potted plant near a window through which light can come in. After a few days, you will notice that the tip of the plant bends toward the direction from where the light is coming. This response of plant to light is known as phototropism. On the other hand, animals like cockroach and earthworm move away from light. Roots have a tendency to grow towards the earth and stems tends to grow against it. The response of roots and stems toward and against the earth is known as geotropism. All living organisms show response to stimuli as the temperature, touch, light, and sound. All the living things they need food also. How do we feel when you do not get food on time? All living organisms need food. Food gives them energy to grow, to move, to work, and for other purposes. Green plants make their own food in their green leaves. Eh, Plants are the only living things who prepare their food themselves. They do not move about like animals in search of food. Many wild animals get their food by killing other animals. Others eat only plants. Animals are heterotrophs as they depend on other for their food, and plants are known as the autotrophs as they make their food themselves. So living things they need food to grow, to work, to get energy. Thank you.